Hola, my friends. Welcome into the Yoniswell Podcast. My name is Jordan, and I'm so happy you're here. Take a moment to settle in with me. And if you're driving, then obviously participate in a safe way. But let's take a moment to breathe together. So take a breath with me. Go ahead and inhale and exhale. Release. There's a version of discipline that builds us, that really cultivates a structure towards becoming really good at a skill or something that we are building towards. And there's a version that slowly disconnects you from yourself. Discipline can be a powerful tool, though it can be something where it becomes external validation. So today I am talking about the moment when discipline becomes self-abandonment. I know this intimately through my relationship with golf. When I was playing competitive golf all the way from age 8 throughout my college years, winning meant everything. It became a natural impulse for me to strive for. And not just because I love the game. And trust me, I love the game, and I still love the game. It has brought me so many gifts that I now apply and integrate into my everyday life. But this was about winning, and winning gave me something deeper. Especially growing up, becoming an adult, it gave me recognition. It gave me praise. It gave me a sense of value. And without realizing it, my identity was built on achievement, on performing, proving, on being seen as good enough. From a nervous system perspective, now that I know what I know, this is a survival strategy. It is a form of survival mode. Your system learns these dynamics, these patterns. I am safe when I succeed. And take a moment to just settle in and check in with what resonates. Which of these resonate with you? I am valued when I perform. I belong when I achieve. So what do? You keep going and you keep striving and you push harder and you work harder and you dedicate more, you devote more, you become more disciplined. Though underneath that discipline, there's often a quiet disconnection. Because check in with where the energy is being experienced and felt. This is action outside of oneself. It becomes external. And what about the internal? So one day you start to feel it. Not necessarily loudly or dramatically, but something subtle within starts to speak to you. A kind of emptiness, a hollowness, even when everything looks successful on the outside. And you don't immediately recognize it because it's possible that you've been conditioned to override your internal compass, your intuition, to stay focused, to figure it out through the mind, to think your way into solutions, to stay driven, to keep achieving. But your body knows, your nervous system knows, and eventually life invites you into something deeper. And honestly, that's what happened to me. It wasn't that I was hollow by any means. I'm not saying that anyone is empty or hollow. What I am inviting us into exploring is, where do we find our value? And do we know intuitively how to validate from within versus externally? So take a moment how this may have shown up in your life. It is this feeling, essentially, of there must be something more than this. We have worked really hard to achieve, perhaps overachieve, to stay seen through success. And at the end of the day, where do we actually access and embody our inner emotional security, our self-love, and our self-value? It does not come from outside of us. These are the experiences that enhance our inner world. But it's our inner world that actually creates the life that we are living, the reality that we are living. And we have all of the resources from within to create that emotional fulfillment. And then when we go out there into the world and succeed and achieve and embody that discipline, it makes it that much better. The key here is that outside of us actually doesn't fulfill all of us, the whole part of us. We must embody and attune to this from within. So, check in with how this is landing with you and what is feeling true for you in your system at this time. I invite you to keep reflecting on this and take a moment to the wisdom that you do have from within and allow this invitation into something deeper really land. Allow this invitation to invite you to enhance your own journey and explore why you are here and what this means for your nervous system regulation. For me, that shift, that crossroads, that threshold that I started to journey upon began when I stopped looking outside of myself for validation and started learning how to create emotional safety from within, how to feel secure without needing to prove anything, how to generate self-worth from the inside. I do realize, and I realized along the way, that that was my own conditioning, my family system conditioning, and the world in which I grew up in. And so this wasn't just a mindset shift. This was a nervous system recalibration. Because self-trust isn't built through forcing it. It's built through attunement. And I will share that I played golf for many, many, many years of my life, and I still play. And golf really helped me embody what it means to connect to flow, be in a flow state, to actually connect to my intuition. Yes, the mind-body connection and what that means from a place of cohesion. Golf is a mental sport, but it's actually when you connect the mind and body that it becomes a holistic metaphysical experience where it is more about golf. It's more about the mental game. It's actually an embodied experience where your whole self feels connected and in flow. The best golf that I ever played in my life was when I was completely present, where I felt like my imperfection was absolutely perfect, where the perfect swing was the most imperfect flow of my own expression and essence. Those moments under pressure, when I was able to fully connect and make the putt hit the shot, was a series of moments that really allowed me to connect to something bigger. And at the time, I wasn't fully aware of what this experience was until later, until I was able to apply the wisdom and the knowledge later. And so now I have this whole embodied experience through golf. However, it deepened when I started to connect with the ocean, with surfing, and what that meant for me at the time of realizing that my inner security and there must be something more than this was in the ocean. I was called to the ocean almost as if I needed a new form of discipline to build. And so this is where surfing came in. The ocean changed everything for me because you can't control the ocean. You can't control the weather. You can't control Mother Nature, and you can't force a wave to happen and to be any kind of way. You can't achieve your way into flow. You have to feel it, and you get to listen. And you get to listen. And this is where attunement becomes alive. Surfing brought me back to my body, back into presence, back into my nature. It was a gateway into accessing my intuition. And in that space, my intuition was suddenly very present with me because I hadn't invited it in. Because the truth is that there was some gap. There was some disconnection. And through my surfing experience, I invited my intuition to come in and I asked for guidance. And really not as something mystical or metaphysical necessarily, but something that I felt very subtly, quietly, clearly, but very deeply. This connection to nature, the ocean, literally felt like it was speaking to me. Not in words, but through sensation, divine timing, and a deep knowing. And so at this point, when I reflect on my life through golf and surfing, I have the earth element. Now I have the water element, a deep connection with my intuition, embodiment, attunement, nervous system regulation. I learned surfing as an adult. And so this is where the distinction becomes really important. Discipline without connection leads to self-abandonment. But discipline with self-trust becomes devotion. It becomes something divine, something that you're connecting with that is a part of you, yet something bigger. And in golf, my discipline was rooted in proving. In surfing, my discipline became rooted in presence. Same drive, same dedication, different nervous system. One was fueled by pressure, the other by attunement. And now they are in cohesion and embodied connection. I see the value in both experiences. And this is where it all integrates. Because repetition does matter. Practice does matter. Refinement matters. Though embodiment doesn't come from the mind. It's not something you think your way through. It comes from the heart, from the body, from safety. You can repeat a movement 1,000 times, but if you're disconnected from yourself while doing it, you're reinforcing disconnection. When you slow down, when you listen, when you feel into what's happening in the present moment, what's happening in your body, what's happening within you, that's when something deeper comes online. It's when skill becomes art and when effort becomes flow. So, I'll leave you with this. Where in your life has discipline become a way of abandoning yourself? Where are you still trying to prove your worth instead of feeling into it? And what would it look like to bring yourself back into the experience? To listen instead of overriding through the mind? And what would it be like to attune instead of forcing? You have the wisdom within you. You may have just not discovered the way in which you express that wisdom yet. Though that is why you're here. This is the work. It's practical and it's deeply spiritual all at the same time. It's learning how to feel safe in your own body so that your intuition can guide you, so that your life becomes something you're in relationship with, not something that you're doing or seeking from outside of yourself. It's something that you are embodying, releasing control from, trusting, surrendering into your own inner guidance, allowing your full expression to manifest through your life's desires, through connecting with your heart, and through your own alignment in terms of what you're here to create for yourself, within your family, friends, community, and the world. So I hope this episode has been helpful for you. I am so grateful for you. I'm sending you oceans of love, and I will connect with you on the next one.